In Raptor, one player embodies one Velociraptor family, and the other player embodies the scientist. The Raptor player wins if 3 baby raptors have escaped from the board or if there are no more scientists on the board. The scientist player wins if the mother has 5 sleep tokens or if 3 baby raptors have been captured. To build the board, choose one of the 2 atmospheres, jungle or savanna. This choice must be applied to all 10 tiles of the board. Place the 6 square tiles randomly, forming a 2x3 rectangle. Place the 4 L-shaped tiles randomly along the shortest sides of the rectangle. Place the 3D rocks on each of the spaces that do not show a circle or half circle. Each player takes his player aid and his deck of cards. The scientist player takes the fire tokens, sleep tokens, placed ammunition side up on the player side, and the scientist figurines. The raptor player places the mother on one of the 2 central tiles, then 1 baby on each remaining tile. The scientist player places 4 of his scientist figurines on the L-shaped tiles, 1 figurine on each tile. Each player then draws the first 3 cards of his deck and puts them into his hand. The game can begin! Only the spaces orthogonally adjacent are considered to be neighbors. Diagonal adjacency is never taken into account. The half-circle spaces on the L-shaped tiles are the exit for the baby raptors when they are escaping. No other figurine or token can be placed there, and the only way to move on these spaces is by using the "A baby raptor moves 1 space" action. Each player chooses one of the 3 cards they had in their hand and places it face down. Both cards are then revealed simultaneously. If both cards have the same value, they are both discarded and have no effect. Otherwise, the player who played the card with the lowest value goes first and applies the effects of his card. His opponent will have action points but cannot apply his card's effect. The number of action points is equal to the difference between the values of the 2 cards. For example, here the scientist player has the card with the lowest value. He then applies the effect of the card and can do 2 jeep movements. The raptor player then has 6 minus 3 equals 3 action points. The players can spend only one part of their action points, spend them entirely, or decide not to use them. At the end of the turn, each player draws a card to always have 3 cards in their hands. The action cards played are always placed visibly in front of the player, so that the opponent can always see the numbers already played. If a player empties his draw pile, he shuffles the discard pile to create a new draw pile and complete his current hand. Raptor actions and cards. Action points of the raptor player. The player can split his action points as he wishes between the mother and the babies that are awake. A raptor can never move onto or through a space where there is a fire token. Only active raptors, represented by figurines that are standing up, can perform actions. Action points can be spent in 5 different ways. A baby raptor moves 1 space. With 1 action point, a baby raptor can move onto an empty, orthogonally adjacent space. Here the player uses 3 action points. If by doing so a baby lands on one of the half spaces of an L-shaped tile, it escapes. It is removed from the board. The mother moves in a straight line. With 1 action point, the raptor player can move the mother as many spaces as he likes in a straight line, as long as she doesn't run into an obstacle. Here, the player uses 2 action points and the mother comes closer to a scientist. If the mother is wounded before performing her first move, the player must spend as many action points as the number of sleep tokens he already has. If the raptor player does not have enough action points left to do so, the mother won't be able to move. The mother kills a scientist. With 1 action point, the mother can kill a scientist located on a neighboring space. The figurine of the scientist is removed from the game. Only the mother can attack the scientist, and she can perform several attacks in the same turn. The mother wakes up a baby raptor. With 1 action point, the mother can wake up a sleeping baby raptor located on a neighboring space who wasn't put to sleep in the same turn. The woken up baby can immediately be moved by using action points. the mother puts out an entire fire. With one action point, the mother can use her tail to put out a fire present on a neighboring space. The fire token and all other fire tokens orthogonally connected to it are removed. Effect of the Raptor cards. Mother's Call and Shuffle. This card allows a baby raptor to move on the same tile as the mother. Nevertheless, he cannot go through spaces that are occupied or on which there is a fire token. Then, shuffle your draw pile and your discard pile to form a new draw pile. Disappearance and Observation. Remove the mother from the board. Then, after the scientist player has used up all of his action points, place her back on a free space of your choice. On the next turn, the scientist player will have to show you which card has been selected before you choose yours. Fear. Frighten one scientist of your choice, lay down the figurine during this turn. This scientist becomes inactive until he is set upright again. Recovery. The raptor player can remove 2 sleep tokens from the mother, wake up 2 baby raptors, or remove 1 sleep token and wake up 1 baby. Scientist actions and cards. Action points of the scientist player. The player can split his action points as he wishes between the scientists present on the board. Scientists can move through fire and shoot across fire, but they cannot end their turn on a space occupied by a fire token. Only active scientists, with a figurine in an upright position, can perform actions. Very important, each scientist can only perform 1 aggressive action, shoot or capture, per turn. Action points can be spent in 5 different ways. A scientist moves 1 space. With 1 action point, a scientist can move onto an orthogonally adjacent space. Here the player uses 2 action points. This space must be free and not contain another scientist or raptor. A frightened scientist is set back upright. With 1 action point, a scientist can be set back to an upright position, but not on the same turn it was frightened. This scientist can immediately be used for other action points. A scientist puts a baby raptor to sleep. With 1 action point, a scientist can shoot at a baby raptor located on a neighboring space and put it to sleep. Its figurine is laid down. A scientist captures a sleeping baby raptor. With 1 action point, a scientist can capture a sleeping baby raptor located on a neighboring space. The baby raptor figurine is removed from the board. A scientist shoots at the mother raptor. With 1 action point, a scientist can shoot at the mother raptor orthogonally in a straight line as far as desired, as long as no obstacle is in the line of sight. The mother raptor suffers 1 damage, 1 sleep token, and is then placed on her sheet. Effects of the scientist cards. Sleeping gas and shuffle. Put to sleep 1 baby raptor located on the same tile as a scientist or on an orthogonally adjacent tile. The raptor player will have to spend 1 action point to put this baby back upright, but cannot do it in the same turn. Then, shuffle your draw pile and your discard pile to form a new draw pile. Reinforcements. Place 1 or 2 scientists from your reserve on empty spaces located along the long edges of the board. The scientist cannot be placed on the L-shaped tiles. If you do not have any scientists left in your reserve, you do nothing this turn. Jeep. Perform 1 or 2 moves with a Jeep. When moving with a Jeep, a scientist can move as many spaces as you like in a straight line. The Jeep cannot run into an obstacle, rock, space occupied by a raptor, or a scientist, but if she runs over a fire token, this token is removed from the board. Fire. Place 2 fire tokens on free spaces of the board. A fire token can only be placed orthogonally adjacent to a scientist or to an existing fire token.